everyone, and welcome to the Sam and Ryan channel. My name is Sam.
My name is Ryan, and we have a very special series we are introducing to this channel today. The perfect blend of all of the sensibilities of Daddy. Welcome to the first episode of Broadway birth charts. Samantha, can you believe it? What a good idea from the makers of Versus and the Intelligent Drinking Game.
We are combining the worlds of astrology and Broadway to bring you a Broadway birth chart. In this episode, we are going to be picking and sharing, discovering our sun, moon, and rising musicals.
Do we want to do your chart first or my chart first?
Let's do my chart first.
Okay.
Because I actually feel like I have a bit of clarity about it.
Okay. For those of you who are like, this is totally Greek to me, I'm with you, sister. I think this is stupid too. But it's a fun game.
It's fun. It's all for fun.
We're just going to sun, moon, and rising. Sun is like who you are. Rising is how you are perceived. And moon is like your emotions, like when you're alone at night and the lights are off and there's a candle on and you're thinking about stuff. It's your emotional. Isn't that what your moon is?
I mean, yeah, it does rule your emotions, not necessarily just when you're alone at night. But that was actually a really succinct, again, base level explanation. Good job, Ryan.
My emotions only come out when I'm alone at night and there's a candle lit. It's the only time. Otherwise, no emotions. Not for this robot. You can't be a two-time Broadway actor if you just let your emotions run wild. It's got to keep a lid on it.
Yeah, you only use emotions when you're paid to.
We're starting with your birth chart. Let's start with your sun. This is like who Samantha Fekete is.
I mean, there's one that's really sticking out to me, and
oh, you already have an idea.
Obviously.
Okay.
You want to ask me what musical is my sun sign? You don't think I have already thought about this to some degree?
Okay, wait, can I make a few guesses?
I want you to go first, though.
I wonder about a Legally Blonde.
Oh, interesting. I'm not gonna lie, she was not even on my radar.
Really?
But wait, say more, because I'm on board with this. Wow.
It's giving bubblegum, it's giving pink, it's giving the tone of it feels very much similar to the tone of what Samantha Fekete brings to the table. It's about a female protagonist who is smart and who I think is oftentimes not seen for how smart she is. I think there's a big through line between people seeing what you do for work and being like, oh, you work on social media? Okay, that must be so hard. But you're actually number 2 at an entertainment company. You are a lead, smart, effective employee that's giving oh, this ditzy blonde is at Harvard and she's actually really smart. I see a lot of ways that this relates.
What? It's hard?
What?
I said, what? It's hard?
Is that a line from Legally Blonde?
Ryan.
I don't really know Legally Blonde that well. I only know Legally Blonde well enough to...
Yeah, it's from the movie and the musical. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll cut this part out.
I actually really like this. I think, honestly, as you bring this up, though, and as you were talking a lot about it, it sounded a lot more like a rising sign to me, because it's about how people perceive me.
We can prey on Legally Blonde Rising. What were you thinking for your son?
I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking Wicked.
Of course you were.
I know,
but
and
this is our Broadway birth charts. This is not just my favorite musical goes
no, absolutely.
in my son's spot.
I have thoughts. Wicked could be a good pick for my son, because I think on the surface, it can just look like this fun big show, but it actually has a lot of heart and a deeper intellectual meaning and journey. It's very outgoing. I mean, it's the pop musical, and it's very idealistic. It's very optimistic, but again, still a lot of heart and deeper layers to it. And I feel that is just a really solid sun sign for me.
Okay.
What character traits stick out when you think of Wicked?
Well, I was going to go to the place of Wicked to me would go for a person who feels that their life has been defined by their appearance, but that's not Wicked, that's Elphaba. So
That's Elphaba, yeah.
Yeah, so I had to check myself.
I'm not putting any of these musicals necessarily with like what the story is or like what the characters' journeys are.
It's what the musical is.
It's like what the musical is.
And or everything that is contained in the musical. I think Wicked Son makes sense for you, but I do think Legally Blonde Rising, we should really give that a look.
Wicked Son does feel just very obvious to me, so I say we lock that in. Legally Blonde Rising. It's all about how I'm perceived. And honestly, I felt very affirmed by everything you just shared with me. I loved that. That felt like a little like affirmation station.
Well, yeah, and like to the point about perception, I think people perceive you as like having this like super easy job and like eye roll another influencer. And if we're talking about perception, the perception of who Elle Woods changes. Like everyone who thinks that about you gets on board with what you really are. They just have to go through that arc. I mean, it fits. And then, of course, there are the people who see Elle Woods for exactly who she is immediately, and you have a lot of those people too. I think it fits.
I think it's a really, really strong fit. And my favorite thing about it is like, I do get a lot of affirmation from people saying like that they do perceive me as like this confident, strong person. I know who I am at the core. And one of my favorite things about Elle Woods and her journey in Legally Blonde is that she doesn't change.
Yes.
Everyone around her changes. I feel like that is a cute thing for me too.
I mean, also very interesting, and I know we're not talking about characters, we're talking about musicals, but that is the same as Elphaba. Elphaba does not change, everyone around her changes.
That's really
I know she sings a whole song about the fact that she has been changed for good, but she has not been. She starts as a fiery activist who wants to change the world, and she ends as a fiery activist who wants to change the world.
My sun is Wicked. My rising is Legally Blonde. So my moon.
So, yeah, we're going to move on to Moon, and you're going to tell me it's Phantom of the Opera.
And like when I really break this down, because like I let's think about this. I am very emotional. I am romantic. I am idealistic.
Are you
my emotions
possessive?
have so many layers.
Are you
I'm protective.
No,
yes.
possessive.
No,
Possessive.
yes, Ryan. I am. Yes.
Possessive?
Like when you're looking at your emotions through your moon sign, you don't only think about it through like the positive layers. You think about it, okay, like what is like the depths of this? Like what is this in its worst way too? And like I'm very protective, but I do think that there are ways that like the Phantom just thinks he's protective. He doesn't look at that and call that possessiveness, you know?
I just think that you're too nice.
I'm also, let's move away from the Phantom for a second. Let's think about Christine. Let's think about Madame Curie. Those are protective people. Madame Curie has been protecting the Phantom out of an empathetic nature her whole life.
And so you feel like you're...
With Christine. Like she, that's her whole struggle, is she's so optimistic and idealistic in love that she doesn't know how to like leave this situation or like gets blinded by it. She still has empathy for this I'm sorry, but like sewer monster.
Yes, okay,
like,
but then the sewer monster disappears, releases her to be with the person she didn't really care enough about to not fall in love with another person. Like it just sort of feels like Phantom of the Opera contains a darkness that you don't contain. And I mean that like as a voracious compliment. And you're going to laugh, but Phantom of the Opera without the darkness is Shrek.
What?
Phantom of the Opera without the darkness is Shrek. There is idealism.
I'm gonna need you to break that down.
There is the same amount of idealism, Fiona's idealism about like what she wants. There is the protective nature, like the donkey is protective of Shrek and Shrek is protective of the donkey, even though that there is a tension there. But at the end of the day, there is a very big protection there. Fiona is protective of Shrek. Shrek is protective of Fiona. And at the end of the day, the difference between Shrek and Phantom of the Opera is that idealism is actually served by that emotional desire to get what you want in the name of your idealism, seeing what you actually want past all of the bullshit.
I see your Shrek and I raise you Anastasia. A journey to the past.
I mean, but you love A Journey to the Past.
I love
Anastasia's
A Journey to the
good. Anastasia's really good.
And again, not that I'm sorry. I think I'm just really gonna have to sit with the whole Shrek thing for a second. I didn't mean to like blow past that. I'm gonna have to like watch that back and like really sit with that. It was too much for my brain to process. Anastasia to me is very interesting.
Wait, you just called the Phantom a sewer monster, and you don't see how I got to Shrek?
Anyway, so with Anastasia, I think it still holds a lot of the, idealistic nature. I think in my love and in my emotions, I am a daydreamer, and I also hold on to the past. I have my grudges. And I think Anastasia's journey to like discover or try and find who she is through this like really optimistic, idealistic, but also, genuinely moody lens or path does really resonate with me as well. I still think there's so much in Phantom for me. I understand that, like, yes, there are obviously a lot of dark themes.
You make a really good argument for Phantom. There is so much for Phantom. I think there's too much. The elements of Phantom that give you, but there are elements of Phantom that do not give you. We started at Phantom, we went through Shrek, we landed at Anastasia. I will lock in your chart right now. I love Wicked, Legally Blonde, Anastasia. That is a really good triangle for you. On period, I love your chart.
Yeah, let's hop into your chart.
Okay, my son, what represents me, the essence of Ryan McCartan.
Can I make one before you hop into your thoughts?
Of course.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Hamilton could be a really interesting thing for you here because yes, we all know Ryan McCartan to be a political junkie. We also know Ryan McCartan to be a debater, and you're a Gemini. And all of Hamilton is fueled through these two perspectives, like these two, in a lot of ways, similar but opposite characters of Hamilton and Burr. And I actually see a lot of both Hamilton and Burr, like, in you.
I thought Hamilton, and I talked myself out of it because it's a rap musical, and because the big thing that like cemented Hamilton in the annals of Broadway history was like what it did in like the racial movement of theater, which I feel a little strange about claiming.
Girl.
Now, okay. No, I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about it too much. Everything that you just said, like, I immediately went to Hamilton because I love politics and because I'm such a debater. My sun sign is Gemini. Hamilton has a big Gemini. If Hamilton ends up being my sun sign, I would be okay with that. I want to float one other title, and I don't know if you know this musical that well. I honestly don't know it as well as I'm sure many people do. Sunday in the Park with George.
Interesting. Okay, I've only heard certain numbers. The impression that I get from what that show is about does give tortured artist. And
tortured artist.
That's Ryan McCartan, folks.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Well, and honestly, that's what made me think of Hamilton too, is Burr. Burr is like a tortured soul in some ways.
So you're kind of saying Hamilton already contains what Sunday in the Park contains.
And more. I don't know enough about it. Honestly, there's something about it being Sondheim too that feels right for you.
Yeah.
If what connected with you as a sun sign for Sunday in the Park was kind of that like tortured artist, I think Burr delivers on that for you. The constant flow and back and forth between Burr being this tortured artist and Hamilton just going and getting what he wants, like you have that in you too. And then you also have the Burr perspective in you of like, why does everyone else get it? Yes, the perspective, very good. I like Hamilton for you. I don't want to talk you into it.
No,
but also,
no.
like, did I talk you into it?
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to say Hamilton is my sun sign, and we're going to see if White Man Claims Hamilton as his sun sign is the, like, article that Just Jared Jr. writes about me, or if the comments trash me because that's somehow a cancelable offense. And if it is, then we'll drop an apology video and I'll officially change it to Sunday in the Park with George. And if it isn't, then I actually am very much convinced that Hamilton is the best choice here. Do you have any thoughts about my rising or my moon? Because I genuinely feel that I have perfect ones for both of them.
Only quick thoughts would be that, like, I think the way people perceive you could be a, like, spring awakening or something. Like, something that has, like, angst or, like, edge to it. Because I think sometimes people perceive you with kind of any sort of, like, intimidating, like, exterior or something when, like, you are genuinely the biggest goofball I've ever known. But also maybe it's just, like, Heather's that, like, I feel influences that in people and makes, like, would make them have that perception of you. That's my only thought for rising sign.
I have been told in almost every contract that I've done since Heather's and Liv and Maddie, since being, like, perceived as famous, on every single contract that I've done, at the end of the contract, multiple people in every contract have come up to me and said, like, I thought you were going to be such an asshole. I thought that you were going to be so pretentious, so self-obsessed, so overblown. I think people's perception of me is that I am pompous and that I am arrogant and that I am, like, popular and that I do not give a. That is what I think people's perception of me is.
I can't wait to hear what this musical is.
Moulin Rouge.
Okay, interesting. On what level?
Moulin Rouge is popular. Aaron Tveit won the Tony uncontested. It is pompous. It is arrogant. It will run forever, whether it's good or bad. I genuinely think it is, like, the perfect musical to, like, give that vibe of how I feel like I'm perceived.
I think something that makes it that much more better is that, like, so many people want you to be Christian, me included.
Great.
Okay, honestly, I see it. See, that's one where it's more about, like, the musical and the production itself rather than, like, the themes or the heart and, like, you know, the actual show. But I totally get that. I'm fine to lock that in because your description is so right.
Yeah.
So what about your moon? Like, what show do you feel like connects with your, like, emotions like that? Oh gosh.
Okay, this is wild, but come with me. My emotions are governed by my inner child. My emotions are governed by wanting more and being afraid to ask for it. Governed sometimes by a sense of martyrdom, that even if I am in a bad situation, I will stay in that bad situation to prove that I can do it. For all of those reasons, all of that being said.
Wait. Can I guess just based off of what you said?
Okay.
Les Mis?
No. I said my inner child.
Well, you know, there's that there is a castle on a cloud.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah. Okay, inner child. Matilda?
Matilda is very close. I thought about Matilda.
Oliver.
Now go with me. Because, like, Where is Love? Never Before Has a Boy Wanted More. Boy for Sale. I was a child actor. Okay. Even As Long as He Needs Me. The martyrdom that I will stick by something even if I know that it's wrong to prove to myself that I can do it. Like, I am represented. I mean, even like the Artful Dodger, like the goofy side of my emotions, like the companionship, the camaraderie that comes out of my sort of emotional sensibilities. I am sort of represented by everything in that show, emotionally speaking. And it all came from this notion of, like, my emotions are governed by, like, the kid inside.
That is so perfect for you. Well,
there you go. those are our Broadway birth charts. If you liked the format of this video, we can do Broadway birth charts characters, Broadway birth charts songs. We could
Yay!
do other ideas that we could come up with.
Thank you so much for watching this video. As always, be sure to like and subscribe. And we will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye, Daddy.